You may not realize it, but there are currently 5.2 trillion pieces of plastic floating in our oceans today. And at the rate we are adding to this, there may not be much ocean left within 100 years from now. One of the major issues that we are facing on our planet today is pollution. And if we as humans don't try and find a stop to this, Earth could potentially become one giant landfill. Pollution, though, isn't just illegally dumping your trash. It can be anything from contaminating the soil to emitting harmful gases into our atmosphere. Air pollution is defined as the presence of toxic chemicals in the air at levels that pose a threat to human health. Urban areas are typically more susceptible to this due to the fact of having large populations in more dense areas. This is mainly created by car emissions and smog created by large factories within the cities. The WorldCounts.com states that people who live in these areas are typically at a more high risk of obtaining asthma or other respiratory diseases. Water pollution is something else that is important to know about due to the fact that water is a vital portion of our lives. Water is something we have to drink, it can water crops, or the fish we eat just live in these waters. Water can easily be polluted, and what many people fail to realize is the fact that when what we put in the water will eventually make it back into our bodies one way or another. People think that just because it disappears, it's not going to affect you, but hookworms, amoebas, and typhoid are all caused by polluted drinking water. Chemicals such as lead, hydrocarbon, and other heavy metals that are put into water can cause kidney and liver failure, hormone and reproductive problems, and can cause certain types of cancer. Agriculture is the leading form of pollution in many countries around the world. The soil is poisoned by pesticides, fertilizers, and other toxic farm chemicals. For thousands of years ago, farmers have been able to plow the land and make their crops and still be able to pass their land down for generations without anything ever happening to the soil. But due to the modern practices that have been put in today, agricultural pollution has become a major problem around the world. It causes the degradation in the ecosystem, land, and environment due to modern-day byproducts of agriculture. Pollution, though, doesn't just affect us. It affects the environment around us just as much or more great than us. Greenhouse gases are made by car emissions and smog from factories, causing something known by scientists as climate change. Heat becomes trapped in the atmosphere, which then causes the earth to heat up, which can cause things like rising sea levels, warmer waters, and can cause extended droughts, which can take a life-threatening toll on crops and wildlife all around the world. People are also unaware of the damage done by water pollution due to the fact that we can't really see what goes on below the surface. But the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services did a study last year that showed over 100 different species being greatly affected by pollution all along the coast. Also, 90% of the coral reefs around the world currently are on the decline due to the fact of contamination and pollution spread by humans. Singh states in her journal that many people are unaware of this problem, though, because of the fact that it's relatively new and people aren't aware of it, and so little studies have been done. In the Pacific, though, there is something known as the Pacific trash spot, which is a large compiled spot of trash that's just floating in the ocean that's actually larger than the entire state of Hawaii. A study done by Erickson showed that there is currently over 500,000 tons of trash floating in our oceans today. Although this problem has gotten greatly out of hand, the good thing is it can still be turned around. The main way to do this is by recycling. You can change your lifestyle and reuse things around your house, and this will help. There was enough plastic last year thrown away to stretch around the entire Earth 4 times, and the sad thing is only 5% of all the plastic used last year was actually recycled. Recycling can lower the need for virgin materials, which helps lead to a cleaner and happier planet. Another thing is that there are some eco-friendly cars that run solely on hydrogen-based fuel or electricity. These cars actually are cheaper than gas cars, and they do not produce the deadly emissions that clog up our environment. According to a study done by Perez in Madrid, Spain, and the use of a simulator, there would be approximately a 10.8% decrease in CO2 if only 10% of the population switched over to eco-friendly vehicles. Another thing we can do is that we can push for lower emissions by factories. Simons and Dell are currently creating budgets within their companies to try and fight the emissions put out by their factories, which can, if all companies were to do this, they would be a much greater hope for a cleaner future on Earth. Remember, there's one thing you can do at home to help, and that's reduce, reuse, and recycle. Thank you.